Hey, RW Motorsports followers, fans, haters, whatever you may be out there today. It's Dirty Dan. We're here at the RW Motorsports shop. And my man, Evan Avehart. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good.
Well, we got lots to talk about, man. We're going to try something new here. We're going to put these video updates out every so often as we get time. This week is all about Springfield, and we're going to get to that. But we have to talk about some things, man. Performance has been there. We've been fast. People know we was there. We just haven't been able to seal the deal. This monkey that's on our backs, man, we got to shake it, brother. Let's drop back to Belleville and let's start off preliminary night with Dave Darling in the midget. Let's talk about that. We won a heat race pretty handedly. Qualified, pretty decently. Feature time come around. We led what, first 7 laps or so. Kind of faded back to second, had some trouble with some lap cars, finished night third. Let's talk about that. That was our only podium out at Belleville.
Yep, that was a good night. Got a little lucky with another team having the issue that put us on the pole of the feature. We had a fast race car. Dave led the first 7 laps pretty handily, and then Zach Dahm found the bottom.
The rainstorm changed that track drastically.
Really strange to win on the bottom at Belleville. It almost doesn't seem real, but went to the bottom and we had second, kind of wrapped up, got tangled up with a lap car there with a few laps to go. Pretty lucky to even finish that race. Darlin did a hell of a job to keep it on the racetrack after that lap car incident. So ended up third, put us in a good spot for the Saturday event.
Well, that moves us on. We got to practice the Crown car a couple times that night as well. We was top 4 both times. You and Wyndham talked about some things that we won't go into the details, but you guys tried some things and you found something with the old Triad Toyota and the Beast. So let's move on to it, man. Let's move on to Friday night. All about the second ever USAC Silver Crown Hustle on the High Banks at Belleville. And, man, practice, we were fast. I don't know what you found between practice and qualifying, but we picked up, two tenths, 2.5 tenths?
Almost 3 tenths, yeah.
Between practice and qualifying. We go out, we're about midway to late in the session, in the qualifying session when we go out. We go out, Wyndham lays down a damn good first lap, a 2, and then the second lap is hammering down, has a little bobble in 3 and 4, cost us a little bit of time, but lays down a 2.27, I think.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good at that point, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good qualifying lap. Wyndham made just a small little mistake, little bobble on the cushion in 3. Can't fault him for that. He was going for it. Just a small bobble, and it cost us the pole by, I think, 6 thousandths.
Swanson comes out and runs 6 thousandths of a second was the determining factor.
Cody's been on a roll this year. Can't fault Chris for trying, that's for sure. We knew he had a good race car. We had a good first lap of qualifying, so the second lap you go for it, and just made a little mistake, and it happens. I'm not gonna. It's easier to try to slow a guy down than it is to get one to speed up.
Well, there you go. Now, speaking of slowing a guy down and speeding a guy up, feature time comes around. Wyndham goes out, starts outside front row, obviously, and within 2 laps, he stretches us out to a 15-car length lead over Bell in second. We get a caution that comes out, another caution at lap 15. Same deal on the first restart, stretches out 12, 15 cars. Then we get a big run, but let's talk about Wyndham and this line that he was running, and I know sprint cars is a bad word around the shop with you, but that's an inside joke, people. But at any rate, somebody wants to give us money, we'll run one. But at any rate, man, Wyndham had the Crown car wound up on the rail at Belleville, turning laps that weren't for the faint of hearted. I know you and I talked a lot about this in the last couple of weeks. Looked like a sprint car out there at Belleville, left front in the air, the whole 9 yards, man. Tell us what was going through your mind.
We talked a lot before the race and after practice night about how to run Belleville and how to do it successfully, and it took a little bit of trial and error for Chris to trust me on that, and then at the start of the race we had a strategy, and that's what we were going to stick to. You run the fence and you don't come off, and you run it committed, or you might as well just pull it in the pit and stay there. And he ran 44 laps fully committed to the top, and You know, just you couldn't ask him to run a more perfect race. He hit every line absolutely perfect, and you couldn't ask anything much more out of that. The car was doing exactly what he needed it to do, and he had a lot of confidence in it, and it showed.
Now, we got the new Triad Toyota in the car. We did run it at RP the week before in a pavement race, not turning near the RPMs of speed. As we know, Belleville's a flat-out, mashed-out top-end track. We made a mistake, bro. Lap 36, the car started sputtering. We'd lapped all the way up to 4th place. Had pretty much 3/4 track lead over second, and second was fading. Chris had his issues. It took 8 laps till lap 44 for Swanson to catch and pass for the lead. Yeah, everybody's been asking us the question, you know, can't we afford fuel? All the smart aleck comments, you know, and things that come with it, you know what I mean? And time's never going to make it better. I mean, it may make it easier to swallow, but I know we've been beating ourselves up around here at the shop for it, you know, ever since that night. But I know you've had some discussions with Triad, so tell people out there a little bit about what we found out.
You know, when on our practice night and the practice session before the race, we always calculate our fuel mileage, and we keep track of how much we burn and how much we put in and how much we go through. You know, so we calculated all of our fuel mileage off of that. Obviously, in the race, it was a lot further around.
It's a pace we hadn't seen run all week.
He ran every lap wide open. You know, never lifted. We were turning, you know, extremely more RPM than what we had been, which, you know, brought the engine up in its power band. And then at Belleville, the engine's always in a pull down workload. You know, they figured that we were in a 98% workload. That requires fuel. There's just everything went against what we had known all week, and it's not like we were trying, or I was trying to, you know, shortcut.
It wasn't a weight issue.
It wasn't. I wasn't trying to shortcut fuel. I had calculated everything, and we all felt very strongly about our number that we came up with. And, you know, talking with Triad, from what we had seen versus what we had happen, you know, it was they didn't expect that big of a change either. We just live and learn. You know, I screwed up, just made a mistake, and you know, feel bad for RW Motorsports, the whole team, Craig, yourself, and Grant, and Kenny, and everybody that helps us out on this team, and Steve Wyrick, and everybody that gives us what we need, all of our sponsors. Feel bad for Chris, you know, everybody. I just made a mistake. That's all there is to it.
We win as a team, we make mistakes as a team, and you're right, we all felt very strongly that there was enough fuel in the car. That, you know, we did talk about it. You know, ultimately, we're going to push that off to the side. The wounds are still pretty fresh on that deal, brother. You know, and we move on to Saturday. We end up 9th that night. So we've got a podium and a 9th so far at Belleville. Yep. We move on to Saturday night, and, you know, we qualify, was it 6th or 7th? We run around 5th or 6th all night. We finished 6th in the Midget Nationals. Car was, you know, this chassis all season long been fighting tight. And Belleville, it seemed like we was fighting loose, but they had scraped the track that morning. First major changes we'd seen in the track all week. You know, we haven't really had a chance. We've been licking our wounds, so we haven't had a chance to really break down Midget Nationals. But just basically that's what we fought, was a loose car Saturday night.
We, in all honesty and in all fairness to everybody involved, you know, realistically, my head probably wasn't where it needed to be for that night.
Now,
you know,
before you finish there, Evan, I do want to throw that out there. As a team, we talked all night Friday night, whether it was together as a group or different splintered sections of the team. You and Evan and I, even Dave Darlin was involved in these conversations. Chris, Steve was out there. You know, we all had our conversations, and Saturday we did try to get our focus back. We done everything we could to get back to what it is we do here at RW Motorsports. So I just want to throw it out there, because I know you're still beating yourself up, brother, but go ahead, man.
You know, realistically, you don't get an opportunity to win races like that very often, and you know, I take this very personal, and you know, ultimately the weight of everything that happens here is on my shoulders, because I'm the one that has to answer to Steve. And in all fairness to everybody involved, everybody, Darland and Craig and everybody, my head wasn't where it needed to be. You know, I just couldn't get past the point of Friday and the mistake I had made. So therefore, we unloaded. We were a little bit off. You know, obviously the car was prepared. We didn't shortcut anything there. It was just when it came to making decisions, I second-guessed myself all night. And, you know, I knew when you hot lap there and you're a little bit off, it's really hard to get back, as well as it is anywhere, because you can't miss in this series.
I think at dash time we kind of knew what it was going to be for the night.
Whether it be the Midget Series, the Silver Crown Series, you can't miss very much, or you're going to look bad because the competition is so stiff. You know, the level is so high now that you cannot afford to make a mistake or be off a little bit. And, you know, it was just simply just didn't make the right choices and the right decisions, and second-guessed myself all night. And it's kind of funny because as we pushed the cars off for the feature, you know, I turned around and we were walking back to the pit, and Steve was walking next to me, and he said, "You don't look right." I said, I don't know that we're going to be very good. I'm not sure we're tight enough." And sure enough, the first lap I looked at him and I said, "We're not tight enough." And, you know, Dave actually made a heck of a move. He tried to do a slider for third on the last, with like 3 to go. He threw a slider on Bell and Hines, and, you know, they got back by him. Well, then Wyndham had momentum and got around him too. So, I mean, really, we were a third to sixth place car.
We got where
not where this team should have been, not what we're capable of, and sure as hell not what Dave Darland's capable of or deserves. So, you know, again, all that in the past, you know, Belleville is Belleville to me. That's our biggest race, my biggest race of the year, and I put a lot of focus to that. And to walk out of there with the issues we had, it was pretty bad. And obviously, everybody knows that this last week I've been beating myself up pretty bad over it.
Yeah, man, we've been trying to keep you pumped up. We got the call, I guess, on Wednesday that we were going to last week that we were going to take Kyle O'Gara up to Grundy County Saturday night and racing. We busted butt for 36 hours to get the car together. People, you've seen me post pictures of the RW shop. You see, you know, this team, we are a top-notch, you know, USAC team. These cars do get tore down after every race. We haven't really been focusing on the pavement midget schedule so much. There's only 3 of us here full-time. But we got the car together. Again, didn't cut any corners, things like that. We had our Belleville Fontana in the car. We take him up there. We were fast in hot laps. We qualified 4th. We start 7th in the heat race. First lap, 4 wide into 1. Kyle ends up coming out off of 2 in second, and that's where we finished the heat race up there. The invert put us on the pole for the feature. We're all feeling pretty good, man.
Yeah, you know, Kyle's one of the best pavement racers there is, and he's come a long way in a short time. He's fun to work with, very laid back, doesn't get wound up, you know, at the team. We can make a little mistake, and you know, he doesn't hold it against us, and he can make a mistake and we don't hold it against him because we know he's trying and he's learning. It's a great organization to be a part of with Sarah Fisher-Hartman and all of them, Andy and Sarah and Johnny O, and all of them over there are great. They're a lot of fun to be around. They don't put a lot of pressure on us. They let us do our job. And, you know, Kyle, like I said, Kyle has a lot of confidence in us and a lot of confidence in our race car. And if there's an opening, he's going to stick it in there. If he feels like he might be able to come out the other side, he's going for it.
He done it. He did it, that's for sure.
It's good. Like I said earlier, it's a lot easier to slow a guy down than it is to get one to speed up. So.
You know, and that's what we have in our stable. You have Darland, you have O'Gara, you have Wyndham. You know, I know we run a few others from time to time, and you know, we'll be next year. But every one of them, we got stallions in the stable, man.
That's the way I like it. You know, I want guys that you know, they might make a move first and think about it later. You know, that's kind of what you need in this sport, in this series. I mean, you can see the guys that are in the other series, or you know, that race in the other cars that we compete against. They have the equipment. If a hole opens up, they're going for it. You think about the ramifications later.
Right.
You know, you got to have that mentality, but you have to be smart about it too. You just don't go out and wreck people and wreck every week. And that's one thing, knock on wood, you don't see our guys do a lot of is wreck. You know, they take chances, they take holes that might not be there, but you don't see them wreck and you don't see them wreck other people. You know, there's a lot of respect from our drivers toward the other people in the series. You know, we're not out there to be everybody's friend, and you don't see us going around being friends with everybody in the pit area, but it's a respect level that you have for other people's equipment and other people's talents and their safety. You know, and that's what it boils down to. If you have a problem on the racetrack, you know, I'd rather see our guys come into the pit and handle it. You know, if they need to go out in front of the trailer and handle it, then let the drivers go handle it. But you know, I think that's one thing that's good to have is drivers that are up on the wheel, up on the pipe all the time.
Now we had a pretty good fan base up at Grundy County. So like you mentioned, Sarah was there. The whole, I mean, we had a combination of Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing team members, our own RW team, working on the car. You know, whether it was just pulling rocks off the tires. I mean, nobody's afraid to get their hands dirty, that's for sure. But we go out for the feature. It's hard for me to say, man, but we start the race. They call off the start. We have another restart. I don't see the difference between the two, but at any rate, we get a couple laps in. There was some controversies. Some people said we spun Klauser, which Klauser runs for us. Good friend to have in here.
Yeah, really good friend of mine.
There was nothing there. You know, and both teams knew it. Bill Guess, of course, with Guess Racing, the RW North, you know. But at any rate, man, there's no animosity or anything that happened there. That's all internet stuff.
We all talked about it afterward, and we all joked about it and laughed about it. Kyle and Mario talked, and Mario said, "Heck, I was already halfway around. I didn't even know you'd touch me as I went around." So, you know, it was. I've worked with both guys. Both guys they're fiery, but they know when it's time to get
I think there was a little bit of competing going on there because, you know, we got a pavement sprint or pavement midget out here with Klauser's nameplate still on it, and he was wearing the RW suit Saturday night, and of course O'Gara was in the Indy Trading Post Colors trading suit that, you know, that we had for the main sponsor that night. But anyway, I think there was a little competition going on between the two.
It is. It's fun because it's friendly competition, but you know, the main key is we all can work together. You know, we pitted side by side, ourselves and Mario and Billy and all of them. I went over there and made sure that, you know, I can talk. See, I worked with Mario for long enough that you can almost not even have to talk. You don't even have to talk about it. You can just kind of look at each other and know what the other one needs. And so I was trying to help Billy with the transition and help him out with some of the things that Mario needed to be fast, because obviously, you know, if they're fast, it looks good for us, and if we're fast, it looks good for them. And you know, it's kind of Billy helps us out when he can, when he's able to go to races that he doesn't have on his schedule. So we try to help him out when we can, as far as, you know, if there's advice we can give him for setup, or, you know, just help picking little things to help out. So it really worked out good.
He's going to be a player in what we're going to talk about in the preview this week.
You know, with Mario, we spent a lot of time together in 2011 racing, and we really enjoyed working together, and we know how to get along together really well. And he's a very underrated driver as far as the whole series goes, and he really deserves a better chance, and hopefully we'll be able to give that to him one of these days.
I know we're all working on that, so we'll have to wait and see what 2015 brings. But all right, we broke time in gear, ended up, you know, DNF on the night, but we walked out of there with leading the points in the USAC pavement division. So we got some work to do, man. We got to get a car ready for Kalamazoo this week.
Yep, we got to get a car ready for Kalamazoo, and we've got to get ready for Springfield. So the Fontana engine, the boys will have it ready to go for this weekend, and we'll be. Come on, man. We'll be good to go for this weekend, and look forward to, you know, getting to Kyle a W by the end of the season. We
got to put a smile on Sarah's face, man. She brought the baby to the race, so we got to break that baby in style.
We killed the mojo of the new baby at the races because every time, you know, both times that she's had a child and they've gone to the race for the first time, their Indy car's done really well. Well, it worked the opposite for us. So I think we gotta have her bring that out again so we can try not to ruin it for her.
That'll work. All right, homecoming, Springfield. Chris Wyndham, Evan Avehart. Gonna be a big weekend, brother.
Yeah, you know, Springfield's one that I really, really love, and because it's home. You know, I grew up there. I spent first 21 years of my life there before I moved.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, it happens, but you know, I spent a lot of time there, and that's where I grew up. And you know, I used to go to the Indy Mile. My mom and dad took me to the Indy Mile every year from the time I was probably 3 or 4 till they decided that I could go on my own. So, you know, that's where every time there was a race there, you could catch me there, and you know, it's really big to be able to go back there. And I was fortunate enough the first time I ever went back there with a Silver Crown car, we won with J.J. Yaley in 2002. So that was big. Now I'd like to, you know, every year I go back, it just keeps getting more and more and more hype in my mind to get a good job and run good there. And with Chris being from, you know, just about 45 minutes from Springfield, you know, that's a big one to circle on his calendar too, I'm sure.
That is.
And you know, it'd be nothing cooler to see 2 Illinois boys on the front straightaway.
Well, you know, we're going to do our best to make it happen. That's
Actually,
a fact.
it'd be really cool to see 3, you know, because AJ Fike is from there, and you know, he's won it the last 2 years in a row, which is really cool. You know, I'm usually trying to be one of the first ones over there to congratulate him, because it's really cool to see an Illinois guy win a hometown race. And you know, AJ's really good there, and there's a lot of good guys there. And you know, going there this year with a new power plant. You know, new tires and things like that. There's a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it.
You and Triad have been on the phone a lot this week to work on the fuel mileage issues. Last week, I guess, to work on the fuel mileage issues and some things. And as you said earlier, they figured out we were in a 98% duty cycle. So you know, there's nothing really that you can tell us on that end other than we're working on it, right?
We feel very confident. Triad's done a very good job of simulating some of the things that went on at Belleville and simulating some of the things that should go on at the mile from previous mile experiences. So we feel very confident that we're going to be okay there. You know, they never can be 100% prepared, because you never know what the track's going to give you. You never know what the pace is going to do. Yeah, there's a lot of things that play into fuel mileage and tire strategy, and that with the Silver Crown Series with 100 miles. So. They feel very confident that we're going to be okay, so therefore I put my confidence in them that we're going to be okay, and we just do our job, and cross the T's and dot the I's, and we'll be there at the end. That
happened. Now, closing this out, Evan, we've been posting a lot of the fun stuff that goes on and around the RW shop, and I've been unfortunately a big, huge catalyst in that stuff going on. But I just want people to understand, you know, and to reiterate that that's not how we spend our days here. We are serious. We work hard. We play hard. You know, we race hard. Every once in a while, there has to come a time where you got to blow off a little bit of steam.
You know, and that's the key. Is everybody here knows the seriousness. You know, between yourself, me, and Craig Poland, we all know the seriousness of it. And the worst thing you can do is get yourself too serious, because you start making mistakes because you overthink it.
Right.
And I'm prone to that a lot of times. So it's kind of nice to have somebody walk by and, you know, slap you on the rear end with a towel, or walk by and, you know, pretend to kiss you. And yeah, there's a lot of.
You're making me look bad, man. You're making me look bad.
We all do it. There's a lot of things, you know, and the things that I do in the shop, or that we do at the shop to have fun, or people on the outside don't get to see. All they see us as is, you know, the hard head down, don't pay attention to anybody. You know, we focus on ourselves, and you know, when we're at the track, we're not there to be friends. We're not there to, you know, hoop it up and holler and have a good time. I mean, we'll do that share after the race if everything goes smooth, but we're there for a job, and that's what our sponsors and our owner and everybody pays us to do and expects us to do. And we're there to be professional and present ourselves well, but you know, in the shop behind closed doors, we all like to have fun. We all need to have fun to keep it in a happy place.
I think you're right. These fun things usually happen when we've been really going at it for you know, a few hours on and really hard, more or less, just like I said, just to blow off some steam. And I know we're all thinking, even though we're having fun, we're still thinking about what caused us to just walk away from something for a minute. The history here at RW Motorsports, I said it last week in a post, it's very important that we respect the history with this team. But we're here to make our own history, man.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? Steve Wyrick, he enjoys having fun. And, you know, when you're constantly down or hard on yourself or anything, that's not fun for him either, because he sees that, and it doesn't make him feel good either. So I'm the worst one about that, because I'm really, really in depth, serious about what I do, and I take everything very, very personal. And I've been taking a beating over the last week, quite a bit. So yeah, that's part of it. We just move on and try to move forward.
I think the biggest thing is the three of us here. There's a lot more people involved with this organization, but the three of us is here day in, day out. We're all very good friends. We're becoming closer friends as this plays out. We're not just teammates.
Right.
So, and that makes a huge difference. But Evan, let's go get some hardware, brother. We need to put some more hardware on these shelves, man. I don't have enough dust yet.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. We need to break out of our little funk here and get RW back up where it belongs, and get our sponsors back where they belong, and just get back to having some fun instead of getting down on ourselves and being so negative on ourselves. We need to get past that and move forward.
A lot of people would call it cocky arrogance. I mean, you look at the finishes we've had. A lot of people would kill to have those kind of finishes, and would be happy with them. When we're disappointed, we got a podium. I just want people to understand out there, it's not a cocky arrogance. It's just that we expect much more with the tools, the parts, the pieces, the fancy hauler, the fancy shop. It takes it to another level, and that's what we're expected to do.
Right, and that's what we're paid to do.
Right.
There's not many people in this world that get paid to do something they love, and we're fortunate enough to be able to do that, and we need to respect that. And it also needs to be serious business, because you're dealing with lives. You're dealing with a lot more things than people realize, and the people in the stands get to see. They see us at racing. They see us being able to do this on a level that's more than a weekend racer, and their view of that can be good, it can be bad. I accept either way. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's fine. I think that's what makes the sport and everything really good. Is some people like you, some people hate you. Dave Steele and I, we had a conversation a few years ago when we raced together, and he used to always get booed because he was winning a lot. And we were on the front straightaway at a racetrack at IRP one night, and we had qualified real bad, and we wouldn't have been running well. And I was standing next to him, and they introduced him, and people were cheering. I said, "Dang, Dave, I guess we're on everybody's good side right now. Maybe we need to go back the other way, because we're not running very good. If that's the case, if people cheer you, usually you're not running good. If they boo you, then it means you're running good."
Right.
So, you got to play off that a little bit. And you got to have some fun, but I enjoy when kids come down and afterward, and the families are able to get involved, and I think that's more of what needs to happen in our sport. Is the racers and the crews and everybody needs to remember that the fans are our biggest thing, and if we don't have fans, we don't get to do a job.
Agree 100%, and we'll be sharing some of them stories that I know you and I have done some things just in a short amount of time. I've been here for some kids on the outside that we don't publicize much. It's just because that's what we want to do, and
right.
But we'll start sharing a little more of that. But Evan, what do you think, man? We're going to be able to do this on a semi-regular basis, man?
Yeah, I think it's kind of fun, and I think people, we'll see if people like it, then great. If they don't, then
we're going to do it even more.
That means I don't have to do it next time. So.
All right, man. Springfield this week, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunities, Evan. Really appreciate it, man.
All right, man.